perfect in justice, forever made known.
All to His Glory, Justice, Devotional Series, Episode 23. The song is over. The last note has faded. And before we ask how it should change the way we live, we have to stop and name what this whole song was ultimately for. Because it was not, in the end, about us, even though we were rescued in it. Like all things, its deepest aim was something higher than our salvation. It was the glory of God. That is the whole point. And here is the claim that has run underneath every episode, the strange and magnificent thing this song exists to say. God's glory is displayed and magnified through His justice and His wrath. We tend to think God looks most glorious in His gentleness, and least glorious in His judgment. That wrath is something we have to explain around to protect His reputation. The song says the opposite. Paul says it too. God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement to demonstrate His righteousness. Romans 3:25-26. To demonstrate it, to display it. The cross was not God quietly settling an awkward problem. It was God putting His righteousness on full, blazing display for all of heaven and earth to see forever. But here is what we understand now that we did not when this song began. That justice, that wrath, it is not raw anger. It never was. We may have walked in thinking of God's wrath as a temper to be survived, a dangerous mood to keep clear of. We leave knowing better. His justice and His wrath are inseparable from His love, His mercy, and His grace. Not opposing forces in an uneasy truce, but facets of one perfect, undivided glory. Listen again to how God described Himself. The words we started with all the way back at the beginning. He proclaimed His own name, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, and, in the very same breath, who by no means leaves the guilty unpunished. Exodus 34:6-7. All of that is one sentence, one God. The slowness to anger and the certainty of justice are not two competing gods taking turns. They are the same God, fully Himself in both. The psalmist saw it as a meeting, almost an embrace. Love and faithfulness meet together. Righteousness and peace kiss each other. Psalm 85:10. At the cross, they kiss. The God who is filled with loving kindness is the very same God who acts to see justice done. And He is glorious in all of it at once. And now hear the heart of it, the thing that should leave us undone. When the moment came, God did not lessen the judgment. He did not soften justice to make it more comfortable. He did not hold back even 1 ounce of the wrath that sin truly deserved. He enacted all of it, completely, to the last drop, with nothing waved away and nothing pretended. And then He took that full, unsoftened judgment onto Himself in the person of His Son. Think about what kind of God that reveals. Not a God who shrugs at sin, and not a God who is merely angry at it, but a God who upholds His justice so perfectly that He will not lower it by a hair, and who loves so deeply that He will absorb its entire weight in His own being rather than let it fall on us. The full enactment of wrath and the full outpouring of grace in a single act. That is not justice overcome by mercy, or mercy overruled by justice. That is both, perfect and complete, and it is the brightest revelation of who God is that the universe has ever been given. His glory is not magnified in spite of his justice. It is magnified through it, wedded to his mercy, shining where the judgment fell. So what does a heart do, standing in front of a God like that? It changes what it wants most. We came into this song crying for justice on our own terms, and were brought low under it when it turned and found us. We walk out wanting, above all else, the very thing this song has been about, his glory. The mature heart learns to seek God's glory first, even above its own comfort and its own standing, and to trust his justice utterly. We have seen that justice now with our own eyes, at the cross. So when the old question rises, will the judge of all the earth do right? Genesis 18:25. We no longer ask it in fear. We answer it in worship. Yes, he will. He already has, more gloriously than we could have dreamed. Every unanswered wrong, every fear we cannot resolve, we can lay in the hands of a God whose justice we have seen and can trust without reservation. Do you remember the surrender, back in the second movement? The trembling prayer that said, "Should that wrath consume my soul, all I want is your glory known." It sounded almost unbearable when we first dared to say it. Hear it now, from this side of the cross. It was never a death wish. It was the highest thing a creature can want, that God be glorified, whatever it costs, even at our own expense. And here is the staggering grace. The God worthy of exactly that surrender secured our salvation in the very act that displayed his glory. We learned to want his glory above our own rescue, and he gave us both, because at the cross, the two were never once opposed. This is the life the song sends us into, not mainly a list of things to do, but a whole existence reoriented around his glory. It makes us humble before the world's evil, since we stood in the dock too, honest about our own sin without being crushed by it, since the verdict already fell on Christ. Merciful toward those who owe us, since our own mountain of debt was moved. Whatever we do now, we do for the glory of God. For from him and through him and for him are all things, and to him be the glory forever. Romans 11:36. And there is one response to all of this that rises on its own. When you truly see a God who would not lower his justice and would not withhold his grace, who poured out the full weight of both at the cross and called it your salvation, something in you simply has to say, thank you. Gratitude is not a duty added on top of the gospel. It is what the gospel produces in a heart that has finally understood it. Thanks be to God. Paul could not help but cry for his indescribable gift. 2 Corinthians 9:15. And that is exactly where we go next, and not by accident. We have been building toward gratitude this entire time. It is no coincidence that we reach this song now, near the close of the first album, rather than at the beginning. We could not have started here. Gratitude, to be real, has to know what it is grateful for. So we had to walk the whole road first. Think back over everything we have come through together. We learned that God chose us first, before we ever turned to look for him, by his own sovereign grace. We watched him rescue us when we could not rescue ourselves. We let him walk with us into the hardest places, the grip of addiction, the quiet corrosion of envy, the false desires that promised us heaven and handed us something else entirely. We worked, slowly, to learn what faith and hope and love truly mean. And now, in justice, we have stood at the cross and seen the full weight of what we deserved and the fuller wonder of what we were given. Step by step, song by song, the whole foundation was laid so that we could arrive here and mean it. So when we turn now to gratitude, we do not come to it empty or naive or early. We come in full awareness of everything it cost and everything it covers. And that is what makes it right. Gratitude is not only the natural response to all of this, it is the earned one, the appropriate one, and most of all, the informed one. We finally know, in full, what we are thanking Him for. If justice was the courtroom and the cross, gratitude is the long, glad walk home. And we are ready for it now in a way we could not have been before. So carry this song with you, and let it lift your eyes to the glory of a God who is perfect in justice and overflowing in mercy, never less than fully Himself in either. And then come with me into gratitude, where we will learn together what it means to spend a whole life saying thank you to the God who chose us, rescued us, walked with us through all of it, was perfectly just, held nothing back, and saved us anyway, all to the praise of His glory. Thank you for walking through justice with me. I will see you in the next one.